Dear student, this is my fifth lecture. For molecular spectroscopy, paper number EH 5502. Okay. See, in the previous lecture, as you know, that we have obtained the rotational energy of a molecule. By solving the Schrodinger equation of a rigid rotator, we have obtained the rotational energy of a molecule. It is h square upon 8 pi square I j plus 1. And we also obtained the eigenfunction of the rigid rotator molecule by solving the Schrodinger equation. In this lecture, we will obtain eigenvalue of L square and Lz operator. So let us try to obtain the eigenvalue of L square operator and Lz operator in this lecture. What is L square? L is angular momentum and L square is the square of angular momentum. So we are going to obtain the eigenvalue of L square operator, which is the square of the angular momentum operator, and z component of the angular momentum. So before we obtain the eigenvalue, you should know what is the operator for L square and what is the operator for Lz. So I write the two operators. So you will study in quantum mechanics to obtain the operator of L square. You know the operator for P square, it is the square of the linear momentum, is minus h cross square del square. You know this. The operator for the square of linear momentum P square is minus h cross square del square. In x direction, it is minus s square upon d square upon dx square. Or y direction, it is minus h cross square d square upon dy square. And for z direction, it is minus h cross square d square upon dz square. That you know very well. Okay. So I directly give you the equation of the L square operator. The L square operator is given by minus s square upon 4 pi square 1 upon sine theta d by d theta. I am writing the equation for the operator of the square of angular momentum, L square operator, minus h cross square upon 4 pi square 1 upon sine theta d by d theta sine theta d by d theta plus 1 upon sine square theta d square upon d phi square. So this equation of L square operator you are going to obtain in quantum mechanics. So I have directly written the operator, quantum mechanical operator for the square of angular momentum L square is minus h square upon 4 pi square 1 upon sine theta d by d theta sine theta d by d theta plus 1 upon sine square theta d square upon d phi square. Okay, this is the operator of L square. Similarly, the operator for z component of angular momentum Lz is minus h cross square d by d phi. What is Lz? It is the z component of angular momentum, and the operator of z component of angular momentum is minus ih cross d by d phi. What is the difference? That quantum mechanical operator for L square is depending on two coordinates theta and phi. While the operator for Lz depends only on phi coordinate. It does not depend on theta coordinate. Okay. Now I have given the equation of operator L square operator and Lz operator. Now we will try to obtain the eigenvalue of L square operator and algebra operator. First of all, we will obtain eigenvalue for L square operator. You have studied eigenvalue equation in second year BSc. What is the general eigenvalue equation? The eigenvalue equation can be written as this is the general eigenvalue equation. This is general eigenvalue equation where A is the operator, capital A is the operator. It operates on the function phi a. When operator A operates on the function phi a, same function phi a is reproduced multiplied by some constant. This is the general eigenvalue equation. When operator A operates on the function phi a, then after the operation, as a result, we get the same function phi is reproduced multiplied by some constant value a. If the same function phi is reproduced multiplied by some constant value a, then the same function is reproduced. Such type of equations are called eigenvalue equation in quantum mechanics. Here, you know very well, A is the operator. A is the operator. Phi a is called eigenfunction. And constant value A is called eigenvalue, to which the eigenfunction phi a belongs to eigenvalue small a. So capital A is the operator which operates on the eigenfunction phi a. The same function phi is reproduced multiplied by constant value. This phi a is called eigenfunction and A is called eigenvalue. Okay, now we want to write the same equation for L square operator. So now we write eigenvalue equation for L square operator. Eigenvalue equation for L square operator. Instead of operator A, I take L square operator. I operate this L square operator on function psi, which is a function of theta and phi. So instead of operator A, let us take the L square operator and we operate operator L square on the function psi. What is the result? We should get the same function psi is reproduced multiplied by some constant value. This constant value is called the eigenvalue of L square operator, that we have to find out. Okay. Once again I repeat, when the square of angular momentum operator L square operates on the function psi, after the operation, the same function psi is reproduced. We get the same function psi multiplied by some constant value. So this is the eigenvalue equation for L square operator, in which L square operator is operating on psi. We get the same function psi multiplied by some constant value. This constant value is called eigenvalue of L square operator, that we want to find out. So here, L square is our operator. Psi is the eigenfunction of L square operator and eigenvalue of L square operator, that we have to find out. In order to find out the eigenvalue of L square operator, let us start with the Schrodinger equation of rigid rotator, that we have written in the second or third lecture. Please remember, we are going to calculate the eigenvalue of L square operator. We are going to find out the eigenvalue of L square operator. Okay. So in order to calculate the eigenvalue of L square operator, let us start with the Schrodinger equation of a rigid rotator. Okay. If you remember that equation, you have this equation. The equation of rigid Schrodinger equation of rigid rotator is like this: 1 upon sin theta d by d theta sin theta d by d theta. This d by d theta operator was operating on psi. Actually, you know that psi is, we have separated into two parts, theta part and phi part. Second term is 1 upon sin square theta, 1 upon sin square theta, d square psi upon d phi square, plus 8 pi square I upon s square. E psi is equal to 0. If you go back to my lecture, second or third lecture, you will find this equation. Schrodinger equation of rigid rotator is 1 upon sin theta d by d theta sin theta d by d theta operating on psi, 1 upon sin square theta d square psi upon d phi square, plus 8 pi square I upon s square. E psi is equal to 0. So this is the Schrodinger initial equation of Schrodinger equation of rigid rotator. From this equation we have started, and we have separated psi into two parts, theta part and phi part. Okay. Now I am taking this on right side. So if you take the last term, on right side, it will be minus 8 pi square I e upon s square psi. If you take the last term on right side, it will be minus 8 pi square I upon s square psi. Now we have compared our Schrodinger equation with associated Legendre differential equation. We find that the Schrodinger equation of rigid rotator has acceptable solution only when 8 pi square I upon s square is replaced by j plus 1. You know this. Our Schrodinger equation of rigid rotator has acceptable solution only when 8 pi square I upon s square is replaced by j into j plus 1, where j is a rotational quantum number. Okay. I told you in the previous lecture that our Schrodinger equation of rigid rotator is identical with associated Legendre equation only when 8 pi square I upon s square is taken is equal to j plus 1. So instead of 8 pi square I upon s square, I put j into j plus 1. Okay, so I replace 8 pi square I upon s square by j plus 1. I replace 8 pi square I upon s square by j into j plus 1, which is operating on psi. Okay. Now, what is the operator of L square? L square operator is minus s square upon 4 pi square 1 upon sin theta d by d theta sin theta d by d theta 1 upon sin square theta d square upon d phi square. Okay. We have our left hand side of the Schrodinger equation is same. Only it differs only by a constant factor minus s square upon 4 pi square. So I multiply both sides of this equation by minus s square upon 4 pi square. So let us multiply this equation. With minus x square upon 4 pi square on both sides. Okay. So what we get? Let us multiply this with minus s square upon 4 pi square bracket 1 upon sin theta d by d theta sin theta d by d theta sin taking outside plus 1 upon sin square theta d square upon d phi square. Okay, and this operator is operating on which function? Psi. It is equal to minus j into j plus 1 psi. So we get this. Okay. This is also multiplied by the right hand side is also multiplied with Okay, minus j into j plus 1. We have multiplied left hand side with minus h cross square upon 4 pi square c. So we also multiply the right hand side with s square upon 4 pi square. Now please see, what is this? What is this? What is minus h square upon 4 pi square? 1 upon sin theta d by d theta sin theta d by d theta plus 1 upon sin square theta d square upon d phi square is nothing but it is the operator of L square. It is the operator of L square. So I write this is a L square operator. This is a L square operator and it is operating on psi is equal to, what do we get? Minus s square upon 4 pi square j plus 1 psi. So we are getting this equation. So minus s square upon 4 pi square 1 upon sin theta d by d theta sin theta d by d theta 1 upon sin square theta d square upon d phi square is nothing but it is the quantum mechanical operator of L square. So I write return this bracketed term is replaced by L square operator and this L square operator is operating on the right hand side function psi. We get the result minus s square upon 4 pi square j plus 1 psi. Okay, so again I come to the same. This is the operator, L square operator. When operates on the function psi, we get the same function multiplied by constant value. Okay. What is the physical significance of this equation? When L square operator operates on the function psi, square of the angular momentum operator L square operates on the eigenfunction psi, we get the same function psi multiplied by minus s square upon 4 pi square j into j plus 1. Okay. Okay. I am sorry, this minus from both the sides is cancelled out. So this will be plus. This will be plus. This negative sign is cancelled out from both the sides. So this will be plus. Okay. So what is this now? What is s square upon 4 pi square j plus 1? That is nothing but it is the eigenvalue of L square operator. So I write the result now. L square operator. L square is the operator. Psi is the eigenfunction of L square operator. And s square upon 4 pi square j plus 1 is the eigenvalue of L square operator belonging to eigenfunction psi. So L square is the operator of the square of angular momentum, L square operator. Psi is the eigenfunction. Psi is the eigenfunction of L square operator, and s square upon 4 pi square j plus 1 is the eigenvalue of L square operator. So thus we got eigenvalue of L square operator is s square upon 4 pi square j into j plus 1. Okay, so we got the result. Eigenvalue of L square operator is s square upon 4 pi square j plus 1. Similarly, you can obtain second calculation. You can obtain the eigenvalue of Lz operator. It is very simple. So I quickly obtain the eigenvalue of Lz operator. What is Lz? Lz is the z component of angular momentum. Angular momentum L has three components: Lx, Ly, and Lz. Angular momentum has three components: Lx, Ly, and Lz. Okay. So let us write the eigenvalue equation of for Lz. Eigenvalue equation for Lz operator can be written as I take the LZ operator operating on phi because it depends only on phi function. LZ is the operator. It is operating on phi function because you know LZ operator is depending on phi only. It does not depend on theta. Okay. Okay, we get the same function phi. Same function phi multiplied by some constant value. This constant value is called eigen value of LZ operator. So what is the physical meaning of this equation? When LZ operator is operating on the eigen function phi, the same function phi is reproduced multiplied by some constant value. This phi is called eigen function. So here LZ is the operator, phi is the eigen function of LZ operator, and so LZ is the operator for the Z component of angular momentum. It operates on the eigen function phi. We get the same function is reproduced multiplied with this constant value. So we are going to calculate now eigen value of LZ operator. Okay. Now I have given you that the operator for LZ is nothing but minus IH cross d by d phi. It depends only on phi coordinate. That is why I am operating LZ operator on phi function only, not on theta function. Okay. So let us put the operator for LZ is minus IH cross d by d phi. The quantum mechanical operator for LZ is minus IH cross d by d phi. That you will also obtain in the quantum mechanics. Okay. Now this operator of LZ is operating on the function phi. See, in the previous lecture we obtained the normalized function phi. The phi function is nothing but it is e raised to im phi multiplied by normalization constant 1 upon root 2 pi, but 1 upon root 2 pi is constant, so I am not writing that. So the eigen function, the phi solution of the phi part of equation is e raised to im phi. Okay, so I operate this function now. I operate this operator on phi function. Phi function is nothing but e raised to im phi is equal to. Let us solve the left hand side of this equation. What we get? Okay, so minus IH cross as it is. When d by d phi operator operates on e raised to im phi, what is the derivative of e raised to im phi? It is exponential function. Derivative of e raised to im phi will be e raised to im phi multiplied by coefficient of phi is im. So minus IH cross is constant and phi derivative of e raised to im phi, exponential function e raised to im phi is e raised to im phi into im. Okay, so minus I into I will be I square mh cross e raised to im phi. I minus I into plus I will be minus I square mh cross e raised to im phi. Now you know very well the value of I square is minus 1. Value of I square is minus 1. So minus I square will be plus 1. Value of I square is minus 1. So minus I square will be plus 1. So I get mh cross. And what is this e raised to im phi? This e raised to im phi is nothing but that is our phi function. So what is the answer? We get the answer mh cross into phi. Okay. What is the physical meaning of this equation? That when LZ operator, which is minus IH cross d by d phi, when operates on the function phi, which is e raised to im phi, we got the same function phi, means e raised to im phi multiplied by constant value mh cross. This mh cross is called the eigen value of LZ. So eigen value of LZ operator is nothing but mh cross, where m is equal to 0, plus minus 1, plus minus 2 and so on. Okay. So in this way, we calculated the eigenvalue of L square operator, which is minus S square upon 4 pi square J plus 1, and eigenvalue of Lz operator is mh cross, where m is an integer, 0 plus minus 1 plus minus 2, it goes up to plus minus j. So we have calculated eigenvalues of L square operator and Lz operator. Next. You know very well that the rotational energy of the molecule is S square upon 8 pi square I j plus 1, where j is a rotational quantum number 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. If you put different values of rotational quantum number j is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, you will get discrete values of energy. So energy is discrete. So these are the discrete rotational energy of the molecule, S square upon 8 pi square I j plus 1. If you put j is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, you will get discrete values of energy, rotational energy of the molecule in different rotational energy levels. If molecule has discrete rotational energy level, then its angular momentum is also discrete, its rotational frequency is also discrete. So let us calculate the angular momentum of the molecule, rotating molecule. In order to find the angular momentum of a rotating molecule, let us start with the classical mechanics. So from classical mechanics, the rotational energy of the molecule is given by, actually you know very well, the linear kinetic energy is given by half mv square. But molecule is rotating, so rotational energy, rotational kinetic energy is given by 1 by 2. This mass is replaced by moment of inertia I, and linear velocity is replaced by angular velocity omega square. Okay, so the rotational energy from according to classical mechanics, the rotational kinetic energy of the molecule is not half mv square, it is half I omega square, because half mv square is the linear kinetic energy and half I omega square is the rotational kinetic energy. Mass is replaced by moment of inertia I, and linear velocity is replaced by angular velocity omega. Okay, I multiply this with I and divide by, multiplying with I and dividing with I. So I got I square omega square upon, multiply with I and divide with I. Now what is this I square omega square? Okay, you know the linear momentum is mv. Similarly, angular momentum L is I omega. So this I square omega square is nothing but L square upon 2I. Linear momentum is mv and angular momentum is L is equal to I omega. So this I omega is the angular momentum of the rotating molecule L. So I square omega square is L square upon 2I. From this equation, L square is equal to 2EI. So L square is equal to 2. I put the rotational energy of the rigid rotator from the above equation. By solving the Schrodinger equation, we have derived the equation of rotational energy of the molecule is S square upon 8 pi square I j plus 1 into I. So this is the rotational energy of the molecule, S square upon 8 pi square I j plus 1. So which equation you get? L square is equal to S square upon 4 pi square I gets cancelled. J plus 1. So final angular momentum comes out to be h upon 2 pi under root J plus 1. So this equation gives the discrete values of angular momentum of the rotating molecule. So according to this calculation, the angular momentum of the molecule, rotating molecule, is h upon 2 pi under root J plus 1, and this result is agreed with the quantum mechanical result also. And finally, we obtain, so you can say that molecule has discrete rotational energy, molecule has discrete values of angular momentum. Similarly, molecule has also discrete values of rotational frequency. So finally we obtain the rotational frequency. In order to obtain the rotational frequency of molecule, we start with the equation of energy. E is equal to, we start with the equation of angular momentum. L is equal to I omega. L is equal to I. You know that linear momentum P is defined by mass into velocity, mv. And angular momentum I is defined by, instead of mass is replaced by momentum velocity I, and linear velocity is replaced by angular velocity. Okay. So this omega is equal to L upon I. I substitute. What is L here? L is the angular momentum of the rotating molecule, and I is the moment of inertia of the molecule. So let us put the value of the angular momentum of the rotating molecule is h upon 2 pi. H upon 2 pi under root J plus 1 divided by I is there. So by substituting the value of angular momentum is h upon 2 pi under J plus 1 upon I. So this gives the angular frequency of the molecule. Now omega is nothing but 2 pi nu, that is h upon 2 pi I under root J plus 1. So rotational frequency of molecule nu is h upon 4 pi square I under root J into J plus 1. So rotational frequency of the molecule is h upon 4 pi square I under root J plus 1. This is the rotational frequency of a rotating molecule. So I denote it by nu rot. Nu rot means it is the rotational frequency of the molecule. So from this calculation we have studied that molecule has discrete rotational energy, which is s square upon 8 pi square I J plus 1. Molecule has discrete values of angular momentum h upon 2 pi under J plus 1, and molecule has discrete values of rotational frequency given by equation h upon 4 pi square I under root J plus 1. And finally, I take some example so that you can understand how to find out the moment of inertia of the molecule, how to find out the internuclear distance between two atoms of the molecule. Okay, so for that I take some examples so you can understand how to solve it. Let us start with the first example. Okay, the first example I am giving you the moment of inertia of HCl molecule. Moment of inertia of HCl molecule. Moment of inertia of HCl molecule is 2.66 10 10 raised to minus 40 gram centimeter square. Okay, so it is given that the moment of inertia of HCl molecule is 2.66 10 raised to minus 40 gram into centimeter square. Okay. You are asked to calculate energy difference between rotational levels J is equal to 0 and J is equal to 1. Okay, you are given the reduced mass is not required here, so I am not going to give the value of reduced mass. Now let us do the solution of this example. Please be careful about the example. What you are given, moment of inertia of HCl molecule is 2.66 10 to the minus 40 gram centimeter square. You are asked to calculate the energy difference between two rotational level J is equal to 0, in which the rotational energy is 0, and J is equal to 1, in which the rotational energy is E1. Okay. So you are asked to calculate the energy difference between the lowest rotational energy level J is equal to 0 and the upper level J is equal to 1. Okay, we start with the equation which we have obtained by solving the Schrodinger equation. Rotational energy of the molecule is S square upon 8 pi square I J into J plus 1. This is the equation of rotational energy which we have obtained by solving the Schrodinger equation of rigid rotator. Okay, now we will find out the rotational energy in the lowest rotational level J is equal to 0. So calculate the rotational energy in the lowest rotational level J is 0. Let us put J is equal to 0. So number 1, the energy in the lowest level J is 0 will be E0. If you put J is equal to 0, that energy comes out to be 0. So in the lowest rotational energy level J is 0. By putting J is 0 in this equation, the rotational energy in the lowest level J is 0 is 0. Second, in the level J is equal to 1, the rotational energy of the molecule will be obtained by putting J is equal to 1 in this equation. So what is the rotational energy? In the upper rotational level J is equal to 1, that is S square upon 8 pi square I. Okay. Now J is 1 into 1 plus 1, that is 2. So in the lowest rotational level J is 0, the rotational energy is 0. And the level J, rotational level J is 1, the rotational energy is S square upon 8 pi square I into 2. What you are asked? You are asked to calculate the energy difference between the lowest rotational level J is 0 and J is equal to 1. So let us take the difference of this 2. So energy difference between rotational level J is equal to 0 and J is equal to 1, delta E is equal to E1 minus E0. Let us calculate the energy difference between the lowest rotational level J is 0 and upper level J is equal to 1. That is E1 minus E0. What is E1? E1 is this S square. This 2 upon 8 will be 4. So S square upon 4 pi square I minus, and the lowest level rotational energy is 0. Now if you substitute the values of H and I, you will get the energy difference between these two rotational levels. So let us calculate it. You know the value of Planck constant H, 6.62 10 to minus 34 joule into second whole square. This is joule into second divided by value of Planck constant is 6.62 10 to minus 34 joule into second upon 4 pi is 3.410 square, and you are given the moment of inertia of the molecule 2.66 10 to minus 47 kilogram into meter square. I have converted gram into centimeter square into kilogram into meter square. That is why I have written 10 to minus 47 instead of 10 to minus 40. The answer comes 4.177 10 to minus 22 joule. Okay, so this is the energy difference between two rotational level 0 and 1. If you want to convert this into electron volt, you have to divide this by 1.6 10 to minus 90. So we will get the energy difference 2.61 10 to minus 3 electron volt. So in this way, we have calculated the energy difference between the lowest rotation level 0 and upper level 1. That comes 2.61 10 to minus 3 electron volt. What is the physical significance of this energy difference? If you want to take the molecule from the lowest level 0 to the upper level 1, how much energy is required? 2.61 10 to minus 3 electron volt energy is required. If you want to push the molecule from the lowest level 0 to the upper level J is equal to 1, this much energy is required. Now we move to the second example, then we stop. Second example, the infrared spectrum of HCl molecule. The infrared spectra of HCl molecule. Infrared spectrum of HCl molecule. The first rotational line. The first rotational line falls at 20.8 centimeter inverse. Okay, so 20.8 centimeter inverse is the wave number of first rotational line of HCl molecule. Okay. You are asked to calculate moment of inertia. Calculate moment of inertia I and internuclear distance R for HCl molecule. So this is the example that in the infrared, they have studied the infrared spectrum of HCl molecule. The first rotational line of HCl molecule falls at 20.8 centimeter inverse. Means the wave number of the first rotational line of HCl molecule is 20.8 centimeter inverse. You are asked to calculate the moment of inertia and internuclear distance R of the HCl molecule. Okay, so let us move to the solution. You should know that how the first rotational line is obtained. So you know very well that when molecule makes a transition from J is equal to 0 level to J is equal to 1 level, we get the first rotational line. The second rotational line is obtained when molecule makes a transition from J is equal to 1 level to J is equal to 2 level. Sir. Okay, so first rotational line of HCl molecule is obtained when HCl molecule makes a transition from lowest level J is equal to 0 to level J is equal to 1. You should know the wave number of equation of wave number we have already obtained, that is 2b into J plus 1. 2b into J plus 1. So wave number, we have derived this equation in the previous lecture, that wave number of the rotational line, when molecule makes a transition from level 0 to 1 of any level, it is 2b J plus 1, where b is called rotational constant and J is called rotational quantum number. But I told you that time that here J is the lower rotational quantum number. It is the lower rotational quantum number. Now, how to get the first rotational line? As I told you that first rotational line for HCl molecule is obtained when HCl molecule makes a transition from the lowest level J0 to upper level J is equal to 1. So, when HCl molecule makes a transition from J0 to J01, we get the first rotational line for HCl molecule. So, which is the lowest quantum number for this transition? 0. So, lower quantum number for this transition is 0. So, we will put J is equal to 0 here. So, wave number of the first rotational line is 2b J0 plus 1. So, nu is equal to 2b. Nu is equal to 2. So, please remember this equation of wave number of rotational line. When HCl molecule is making a transition between the rotational level, the wave number of absorbed rotational line is given by 2bj plus 1, where j is the lower rotational quantum number. Now, when HCl molecule makes a transition from the lowest level J0 to J is equal to 1, we get the first rotational line of the HCl molecule. So, when HCl molecule makes a transition between 0 and 1, the lowest quantum number is 0. So, if you put J is 0, you will get nu is equal to 2b. Okay. Now, in the example, you are given the wave number of the first rotational line of HCl molecule. The wave number of the first rotational line of HCl molecule is 20.8 centimeter inverse. So, I put the wave number of the first rotational line of HCl molecule 20.8 centimeter inverse is equal to 2b. From this, you will get the value of b, that comes half of this 10.4 centimeter inverse. B is equal to 10.4 centimeter. So, this is the value of rotational constant B. 20 point, actually it is 20.68. 20.68. So, this comes 20.34. 10.34. Okay. Now, so we got the rotational constant B from the wave number of the first rotational line nu. The equation of wave number of rotational line is 2b J plus 1. The first rotational line is obtained when HCl molecule makes a transition between 0 to 1. So, here lower quantum number is 0. So, if you put lower quantum number is 0, you will get nu is equal to 2b. Now, the wave number of the first rotational line of HCl molecule is 20.68 is equal to 2b. So, value of b is 10.34. Now, second calculation, you know the rotational constant B is given by h upon, in the previous the discussion of rotational spectra, we have defined this rotational constant B h upon 8 pi square IC. H upon 8 pi square IC. From this equation, you will be able to calculate the moment of inertia of the molecule I. So, I is equal to h upon 8 pi square BC. If you put all these values, you will get the moment of inertia of HCl molecule. H, you know, 6.62 10 raised to minus 34. 8 pi is 3.14 square. Value B we just got. Value B we got. Yes, we calculate this in CGS. So, in CGS, instead of 10 raised to minus 34, we take Planck constant as 10 raised to minus 27 erg into second. Rotational constant B, the value of rotational constant B we obtained from the wave number of first rotational line, that is 10.34. 10.34, and value of C, you know very well, it is 3 into 10 raised to 10 centimeter per second. In this way, if you calculate this, you will get the moment of inertia I of the HCl molecule is comes out to be 2.70 10 raised to minus 40 gram into centimeter square. 2.70 10 raised to minus 40 gram into centimeter square. And the last one, from the moment of inertia of the HCl molecule, we just calculated 2.7 10 raised to minus 40 gram into centimeter square. From this, you can calculate the internuclear distance R between H and Cl atom. Okay. You know the equation of moment of inertia. Moment of inertia I is defined by mu r square. Moment of inertia of HCl molecule is defined by mu r square is equal to 2.7 10 raised to minus 40. Now mu is the reduced mass of the HCl molecule. That I am giving you the reduced mass of HCl molecule. The reduced mass of HCl molecule is 1.614 10 raised to minus 24 gram. I am giving you the reduced mass mu of HCl molecule is 1.614 10 raised to minus 24 gram. Okay. R we want to calculate, which is the internuclear distance between H atom and Cl atom, which is equal to 2.7 10 raised to minus 40. If you calculate, then your internuclear distance R comes out to be 1.29 10 raised to minus 8 centimeters. So internuclear distance for HCl molecule is 1.29 angstrom. So from the study of rotational spectra, we are able to find out the moment of inertia of the molecule as well as the internuclear distance R between two atoms of the molecule. Thank you very much. Thank you.